Okay, just for the record, I know I'm going to be mispronouncing a lot of words here, and I apologize. It's only so much I can do. All right, A Guidebook for the Newly Sired Desi Vampire by Samira Ahmed. Salam, namaste, and hello, dear one. Stop. Whatever you do not go outside. Sit down. Close your eyes. Rest your mind. See Meditation 101, Tips, Tricks, and Tools for Beginners. Now take a breath. Not literally, but we'll get to that later. You're confused. Your memory is foggy. It feels like day, like you should be getting ready for school, but you're not at home. You're in a dark, windowless shanty or a warehouse. We know. We put you here. We saved your life. You're welcome. All your life, you've been told not to listen to strangers. And let's face it, this is about as strange as it gets. But trust us, the only thing you have to lose is yourself. Let's start again properly. Congrats, Mubarak, Badhai Ho. You're a vampire now. Welcome to the afterlife. We wish we could bring you barfi and gulab jamun and other sweets and wring your neck with jasmine and rose garlands, but there's no time for that. Besides, your neck probably smarts or itches a little. Last night is a blur. You don't remember where you slept. Your last clear memory is that of a fair-skinned British tourist, you know, the Angras who ask you for directions or advice on the best place to get chai tea. It made you wince, but you didn't correct them because who has time for that? Or maybe how to pronounce the drink they were holding in their hand in Indian, and you mouthed very slowly, Coca-Cola. Is it coming back? Good. Hold on to that. You'll remember more soon. You're also probably panicking because you stayed out way past your curfew and your Umi is going to kill you. Good news. Technically, you're already dead. This may well undermine the ferocity of your mother's threats. That's a joke. It's not like something as banal as death could spare you from her wrath for breaking curfew. Please. Bad news. Since you have to avoid the sun, yeah, that part is true, you're probably going to be spending a lot more time at home with your parents, who are going to be muttering under their breaths about karma or destiny or how you'll likely never be a top cardiac surgeon now because no hospital schedules quadruple bypasses in the middle of the night. Lawyer is out too, at least for now. No one wants an advocate who can only work after sunset. The courts aren't even open then. Fair warning. There's probably going to be a persistent parental chorus of ay, or toba, toba, toba to express their shame, and definitely a lot of, but how will we ever show our faces in public again? You're probably wishing your last meal as a human was a mouthful of delicious biryani instead of, say, that too watery, slightly suspect pani puri, or whatever your preferred name for the stuffed and crisply fried dough balls that define our street food you had at that slightly shady food stand on Juhu Beach or Salted Bazaar. You're local. You should have known better. There was no one in line. But you figured you'd chance it because your Kala John's intensely spicy chicken vindaloo is nothing if not a surefire way of developing an iron gut. Foiled again. We get it. You're confused. We were too. Once. A long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Kidding. We're not aliens. You have to lighten up. You'll learn that a sense of humor will serve you well as you journey into your Desi vampire afterlife, just like it did when you were a regular old human Desi. A galaxy far, far away. Sigh. Need a moment to reminisce about young Luke Skywalker, our first white boy crush, which still persists even though he's old and gray and we're still unwrinkled beauties. A love that never dies. Sorry. Too easily distracted by visions of Luke taking us in his arms and swinging us across that giant chasm to escape advancing stormtroopers. Where were we? Right. We were just like you. We also wished our last human night had been spent at the Taj Lake Palace being showered with rose petals like a catered to overly soft tourist who thinks they're experiencing the real India, instead of shopping for a new Loda for our Nani's water closet. Not saying that's exactly what we were doing. That's just an example. But picking the perfect brass water vessel for personal hygiene is critically important. And someone has to buy them. You may feel invincible, but FYI, you still need a Lana. No matter, you're immortal now. The world is your Koh-i-Noor, even if the British stole it. And of course you have questions, especially since your sire dumped you. He didn't wait around to, take any personal accountability or explain himself, or maybe even apologize for violating every rule of vamp etiquette. Bastard. We normally like to be organized about this sort of thing, but in our experience, there are immediate burning questions every baby vamp has. So let's get a few out of the way to put your mind at ease. Am I Dracula now? No, duh. That dude was pasty as hell. Your melanin doesn't magically disappear because of vampirism. Do I have to give up eating dosas and shot because drinking blood is my only sustenance? Likely, but there's still hope. Click here to jump to what should you eat. Can I still live at home? Obviously. You're what, 17, 18, and you're not married, right? So where else would you live? Are you trying to give your mother a heart attack? Well, another one? But don't worry, your homestay is not forever. See Hamaragar, new homes for new vamps. Once you get your vamp legs under you, you can fly. Can I fly? Only on commercial flights, but not suggested. Oh wait, did you mean fly like Superman? No, obviously not. You become a vampire, not a Kryptonian. Do I sparkle in the light? Seriously, no. The sun will kill you. Dead. Poof. Vanished. Stay out of it. We're also here for your specific questions. Tap to chat. You might be cursing your lot in life right now, but no reason to despair. It's not a tragedy. This isn't Mother India. What do you mean you haven't seen that movie? It's a classic. No matter. You have all the time in the world to catch up on movies you've missed. Literally. Hello, rewatch of all 80 plus Shah Rukh Khan films. Treat yourself. Anyway, we digress. If you dare to call King Kong a mere digression. This handy pamphlet is your field guide, your roadmap, your cookbook. We are here to separate the myth from reality. Vampires, Zindabad. Who are we? We're not trying to be existential here, though an overnight transformation into the demonic undead is nothing if not cause to have an extended discussion about the nature of existence, but there's time for that later. Also, please note, we take umbrage at the use of the word demonic or demon. It's marginalizing, belittling, and plain wrong. The West can keep their stratifying terminology. We come down 100% on the anti-species caste system side. For now, we're going to live in the realm of the literal, figuratively speaking. Call us Gumnam. That's right, anonymous, but not that anonymous. We won't dox you, unless you really, really deserve it. We're a collective. Think of us as your cool aunties who are always ready to lend you a 2,000 rupee note. Except in this case, the rupees are advice. We're not actually going to give you any money. And we're not technically your aunties. We're actually teenagers, like you. But we've been teenagers for decades, some of us even longer. So our pop culture references are sometimes off. Don't criticize. One day you will be us. And no, not all Desi vampires are teens. We sought you out. Every time a Desi teen is sired, our Vampersand, connecting baby vamps to the community since 2014, technology pings your location and someone is sent to move you to a safer situation. Because we can't exactly have you waking up at the gateway of India or the Taj Mahal or the Charminar as a new baby vamp. You'd ravage the place. Now we know what you're thinking. I never downloaded Vampersand. Of course you didn't. It's spyware attached to every social media app on your phone. Clever, right? We're tech geniuses. I mean, we are Indian. Mark Zuckerberg keeps trying to poach our IT people. We may be bloodsuckers, but we're not fascists. Sorry, Zuck. Hard pass. So here's an important rule. Since the 1975 Paris Accords, international vampire law forbids siring of individuals under the age of 16. But India's regulations, all of South Asia's really, go further. Desi vamps do not sire anyone under the age of 18. The harsh truth is that you are an underage vamp, and an angry British tourist likely turned you, illegally. Ever since Brexit, there's been a surge in illegal sirings. The British Vampire Council can't seem to keep their brethren in order. There are complaints from all over Asia about angry vamp tourists flouting the law and taking excessive liberties. No surprise, right? They've always had a problem respecting the sovereignty of other nations. Colonialism, sucking your country dry and leaving you to bleed out since 1600. And they call us vampires. Things have gotten so out of hand that recently the Black, Asian, and minority ethnic, BAME, British vampires have broken off, formed their own coalition to adhere to international accords, even if their nation fails to. Dare we say it? They've partitioned themselves from the British Vampire Council because of its insistence on policies rooted in imperialism, Orientalism, and an unfortunate intolerance of spicy food. You might even cross paths with a vigilante BAME vamp attempting to stop illegal sirens. They're basically badasses with darling accents. TLDR, Gumnam is here for you. We came together when we realized that it's not merely the occasional drunk vamp violating the law, it's a disturbing trend. There have been no new teen vamps for decades, and the ancient ones generally keep to themselves and are, well, sort of like that one great uncle who always asks you for help with his phone because he downloaded a new OS but also accidentally erased his data and now can't find the 1,000 blurry pictures he took at so-and-so's wedding. We stepped into that vacuum. We're here to answer your questions, but more importantly, to be your community, to let you know you're not alone. Desi Vampire Sauce Sauce. Who are you? Well, besides a newly sired vampire, you are all different religions, or maybe of no religion. You speak different languages. You're from different regions. Some of you may think your souls have been damned. Some of you may believe you are somehow unnatural, that you're one of the ancient supernatural creatures of Desi myths and faiths. Let's take a moment to clarify. You're not a jinn. They're shapeshifters made from smokeless fire. You're not a Rakshasa. A lot of them are shapeshifters too, born from the breath of Brahma, warriors. You're not a ghoul. Okay, they're considered undead too, but they're more flesh-eating than blood-sucking. Additionally, they have this nifty skill of being able to take the form of the person they've most recently eaten. And they are also shapeshifters. Apparently, this whole region is big on the shape-shifting. Alas, you can't do that. Would that we could. You're not a demon. Remember, we disavow that slur and that theory. Your soul hasn't been devoured by an evil entity. Like, you weren't suddenly changed into a billionaire American CEO who thinks he can run a country, or a life force sucking capitalist who flies his private jet to Davos to bemoan global warming and doesn't get the irony. You're a vampire. You are what you always were. If you were a studious nerd in your human life, guess what? You still are. And good on you for working so hard to pass your higher secondary examination. If it feels all for naught, don't fret. We are working with the Minister of Education to allow you to sit for the exam, even if there's no college you can go to. Yet. If you were a morning person who loved nothing more than an early wake-up call and sunrise jog, we're so sorry. It's going to suck for a while, and not in a good way. Vampires are creatures of the night. Sunlight is not our friend. Many of us sleep or read during the day, or try to organize the hell out of the kitchen spice cabinet because our mamas tell us that the 7-year-old garam masala in some cloudy plastic packet is still good, thank you very much. Or fan our daddies or nannies in the blistering heat with that vintage embroidered hand panka they've had since before cars were invented. And we can't stress enough how critical your avoidance skills are going to be right now, since you'll be in the house all day and will no doubt be dying to evade the various special chores your parents have set aside for you. Beta, since you're stuck inside anyway, is a refrain which you will become painfully familiar with. We kid, but honestly, a word to the wise, if you were a no-good, useless, shameless dacoit with no respect for your elders in your old life, show yourself out. You're probably going to be worse now, and this community doesn't need any more drama or banditry. You're an immortal, and that could be wondrous and terrifying at the same time. Your world has turned upside down. Day is night. Many you once loved will shun you, will call you untouchable. But there is a world for you to discover, one where time is no longer your enemy. Except when it comes to all the mortals you love, who will die of old age. Correction. Time is no longer the enemy of your personal vanity. It's still a thief, but at least it won't steal your beauty. And darling, you are gorgeous. What should you eat? Your colonizer. But you're starving now. Of course you are. See that thermos next to you? The silver one with the word Gunam superimposed over a green outline of South Asia? Drink it. Now. It's blood. You are probably both disgusted and intensely attracted to this idea. Vampire life is nothing if not full of contradictions. So basically, no different than human life. Trust us, drink it. And we didn't kill for this, it was donated voluntarily by allies. Just like this handy pamphlet, the thermos came to you through Vampersand and our incredible Blood Walla network modeled on that of the Tiffin Wallas. See, relative nutritional values by blood type. Hey, it's a Six Sigma system. If it broke, don't fix it. Don't roll your eyes. The joy of puns is forever. But really, let's talk about food. Many of you are vegetarian. Many of you keep halal. Some of you live life according to the principles of ahimsa. Cause no injury, do no harm. Every living thing has the spark of the divine. Regardless of your religion or to personal beliefs, it's simply a fact that being in a Desi family, you likely approach meals with the virtues of moderation. Eat what is simple and natural. Unless it's a wedding, then obviously moderation does not apply. We really hate being the bearers of bad news, especially when we're not there to soften the blow with some freshly blended mango lassi or to soothe you with a rendition of our favorite lullaby, Chanda Haitu. But it's the daytime, so we regret we can't be with you. But vampires thrive by killing people, by biting them in the neck and sucking their blood. You've noticed the sharp teeth, right? You are going to want to do this, but you're also probably fighting it. You're at war with yourself. We understand. It's not fair. You shouldn't have to deny the essence of who you are. You can subsist on animal blood, but every part of you will be drawn to human blood, and one day you'll be feeling extra ravenous and won't be able to fight it anymore. And you're going to feel guilty. Really guilty. We know. We've been there. A brief pause for this PSA. Know this unbreakable rule. No babies, no underage individuals, no poverty stricken, no one kicked to the curb and marginalized. Don't do what was done to you. Remember the Desi way of nutrition? Eat what is readily available, doing the least damage to the environment. Is your memory of last night becoming clear now? What happened? Who did this to you without your consent? Remember the British tourist? The one who looked extra pasty and probably was dressed in some kind of kurta with jeans and rubber shackles, thinking they were blending in? As if. Now do you understand? Your primary food directive. Eat colonizers first. Here is a simple, undeniable fact. White British tourists are readily available. To be clear, we mean Britishers, the Angras. It's not like they think of anyone else as British anyway. Have you ever been to Baga Beach during winter holidays? They're practically tripping over each other at Mackey's Saturday Night Bazaar, trying to haggle a poor trinket seller to within an inch of his life. Or the Taj Mahal during, literally any season, jostling each other to get the perfect touch the Taj snap, and somehow forgetting that it's actually a tomb, the final resting place of a queen and her beloved. Imagine how they would react if thousands of Desis showed up at Churchill's grave, hungover and complaining about Delhi belly. Obviously, that's a hypothetical. We know none of you would go there unless it was to spit on the grave of the man who starved 1,000,000 Bengalis. But we digress. The desk is teeming with Angras vacationers, and we suggest that after a few moments of careful observation, you choose the one who is most obnoxious, the hooligan, the one who is drunker and ruder than everyone else, the one who is heard complaining in a loud voice about how unsanitary conditions are, or how uncivilized it is for people to eat with their hands, or how the British did India a favor by colonizing her. You know which ones we mean. We trust your judgment. You might be wondering how you'll go after your victims. That's actually the easy part. Turn on the charm. Promise them a deal. Show them a way to the best buying lassi shop. Tell them you know the best beady roller in the neighborhood. Lure them away and let your instinct take over. Have you run your tongue across your teeth yet? Notice your canines feel extra pointy? Voila! Let your vampire flag fly. But the absolute last thing we need is for tourist vamps to overrun India. And yes, if you bite a human and drink some of their blood, your vampirism spreads. Enzymes transfer from direct saliva to blood contact. And you've sired them. And clearly, it is not sustainable if we keep siring more and more vampires, who in turn diminish the human population, eventually leading to only vampires who all starve to death. We wouldn't want that, especially the Angras, because then we've just recolonized South Asia with the British undead. No, a simple rule to follow is this: if you go after one, you must fully exsanguinate them, all 5 leaders. It will not be easy, nor should it be. You've lived your life peacefully, likely non-violently, until this moment. Even the thought of taking a life may be abhorrent to you. After all, isn't that what landed you in this situation? Your life violated, your choice taken away. You may not want to perpetuate the cycle, but you may not have a choice. We cannot reiterate enough. Not completing the task, simply taking, say, 1 liter to sate yourself will only ensure a new baby vamp. So you need to kill them. Dead. Think 5 liters is too much? We suggest working in pairs in case you're worried you won't be able to imbibe the full 5. Plus, if you run into any neo-colonial British vamps on holiday, you might not want to confront them by yourselves. They often roam around in marauding packs like their football team just lost, and they're out for vengeance. So pairing up is practical. Safety in numbers and all that. The Vampercent app has a convenient Find Your Friends feature, which we've already turned on for you, friend. So come nightfall, go forth and locate your nearest new BFF. Want to try it out? Go ahead. Just don't actually, go out if it's still daylight. One thing we want to prepare you for: some Angus tourists are bland AF. These are the ones raised on a national cuisine that includes greatest hits such as beans on toast and where salt is their primary seasoning. Someone really needs to tell them it's a mineral and not a spice. Alongside your thermos, you'll notice a small spice packet. Before you drink, we suggest shaking some of this onto your tongue. It will make the blood go down a lot easier. Feel free to change up the spices. Live your best life. Still hearing the voice in your head saying killing is wrong, but also feeling unable to deny your bloodlust? Don't worry, we're working on a solution, a less human answer to your cravings. A number of your fellow vampires who are alumni of the illustrious Indian Institutes of Technology are working in partnership with the National University of Sciences and Technology in Pakistan to create synthetic blood. Early prototypes proved too acidic or bitter, so our scientists are working night and day, literally, to perfect their formula. The name of this modern wonder, wait for it, Rue Apsa. It's thick, it's syrupy, it looks like blood anyway. Just don't mix up the original with our knockoff. And it will be a lot less suspicious in the vamp marks that will be popping up soon. No need to despair. You will have options soon. But until then, exsanguination is your lifesaver. You're taking one for the team and saving your fellow Desis from the truly awful fate of listening to an Angus tourist try to pronounce namaste or assalamu alaikum while totally screwing up the accompanying hand gestures. Matchmaking. If you think being turned into a vampire is going to provide you with a convenient excuse to avoid the eternally dreaded question, Beta, when are you going to get married? You are about to be disappointed. Maybe you're not going to have a profile on shoddy.com, but the immortal anti-network is alive and kicking, because being a dead never stopped an anti-dead set on getting everyone married. That's right. You might be a teen vamp, wrongly sired, but there are plenty of middle-aged vamps who've been around for years. Imagine having decades to hone the cheek pinch and the art of Desi shade delivered with a syrupy sweet ladue. Imagine being able to deliver the look of middle-aged Auntie Scorn forever. New vamps are feted and fawned over because you represent new blood, new projects. And what greater project is there than matchmaking? Now it's true, you're not marriage age. Yet. But a few years from now, in what would be your college years, you'll start getting the questions. Biodata forms with photos of eligible strangers will mysteriously appear on your bedside table or desktop. The upside? You'll never have to worry about someone photoshopping their pic to look younger, because we never age. You're a matchmaker's dream. It won't even matter that you're not a doctor. Even when you're old, you'll still be young and beautiful. And trust us, if you don't find a suitable partner soon, it doesn't deter the anti-network, because you're eligible forever. If that's the thought sends you screaming to the hills, don't worry. There is an ashram in the foothills of the Himalayas for all denominations, for young vampires who just need to get away. There are even special night runs of the toy train to get you there. We got you. If you do happen to find your perfect match, then the Desi wedding of your dreams can be yours. Unless your dream is Priyanka and Nick's wedding, in which case, sorry, there's no replicating that level of epicness. But there is a whole world of wedding designers and jewelers and florists who are ready to cater to you. Near Chandni Chowk in Delhi and Juhu Tara Road in Bombay are flourishing night markets, hidden from mortal eye by old enchantments held in place by vamp-friendly Mayong tantrics. Warning, you're a baby vamp, so keep away from the magics. For now. They are powerful and not to be trifled with. You're already eternal. Isn't that magic enough? Imagine the most magnificent Desi wedding you've ever been to. Someplace in Rajasthan, maybe? A houseboat in Kerala? A colorful outdoor tent in Shimla? Thousands of vibrant flower petals laid out in ombre swirls lining the marriage path. Mehendi so intricate it looks like lace. Zyewar dripping with gems. All of that could still be yours, if you want it. And only if. Yes, the aunties will cajole you, but that's their thing. You still have a choice, and it's yours alone. So now what? You've got the basics: food, community, marriage, stay out of the sun, colonialism is the true bloodsucker, etc. Now what do you do? Like, literally, now. Find your people. Tell your truth. Live your life. We don't mean to be flip about it. Well, we do, a little. Trying to soften the blow with sarcasm and bad puns. The thing is, it's hard living your life. It was hard before this. It's hard now. You didn't ask for this. It was thrust upon you. Maybe, given the choice, this is what you would have chosen. Immortality is a hell of a drug. But the fact is, you weren't given the choice. And now all you have left is to keep living. Move on. Or find your sire and exact revenge by leaving them to burn in the sun. Stake through the heart and decapitation work too. So really, make the best of it, however you choose. We support your choices. Side note, if you don't want to go the traditional route of exchanging biodata through the aunties, Vampersand has contracted with Truly Madly to create a password-protected, vampire-only community on their site. Your life may feel like it's over, but you can still swipe left or right to your no longer hearting beats content. And you do still have choices. Your future is not yet written. You have the power to do that. In fact, maybe more so than ever. Real talk, you still have feelings from before. They don't disappear. Remember what we said? You're not a demon. You're still you, only more bloodlusting and immortal. But at the core, you are what you always were. And this moment right now could be terrifying and heartbreaking and enraging, even if the potential of tomorrow is endless. Even if tomorrow you feel free and can live a life unfettered. Today, something was taken from you that you were not yet ready to give. Family and friends, loves old or new, dreams. All of that will change. Much of it will die. Time marches forward even when you stopped. Where once you might have felt surrounded, at times suffocated by your noisy, irritating, nosy, beautiful, loving family, now you are alone, no longer human, reviled and misunderstood by many. But you are not unloved. You are here, and so are we. We see you. We believe in you. You are enough. When you leave this place, step out into the late evening quiet for the first time, reborn. Take in the glittering, crumbling streets around you. Look into the ink-black night. It's dark and full of diamonds. And you, dear one, are made of stardust. Afterward, vampirism, or But Is It Possible That Vampires Are Real? By Zoraida Cordova and Natalie C. Parker. During the good old Dark Ages and beyond, it was surprisingly easy to mistake a disease for a supernatural affliction. Vampire stories and disease have a close relationship. A bunch of people got sick and died. There is a vampire among us. The body of young Vanya didn't decompose during a particularly cold winter. She must be a vampire. Fetch the stake before she spreads her vampirism. A rare disease we now know as porphyria was once known as the vampire syndrome because anyone who had it might develop a sensitivity to light and grow pale. They might even crave blood. In the same vein, LOL, victims of tuberculosis and the bubonic plague might have been so close to death that they were buried or thrown into mass graves. Later, not actually being dead, when they slowly rose from their graves, witnesses might claim to have seen a vampire. Samira has taken this idea of vampirism as a disease one step further and paired it with colonialism. If a disease is the presence of something that attacks the body, then colonizers certainly count. We're looking at you, British Empire. Okay. We're looking at US forefathers too. In that way, vampires are definitely 100% real. In what other ways might you interpret the metaphor of the vampire?